Has anyone documented the result of every prediction, or should that be my job?
Option C. Nobody has, and you don't have to put yourself through that, madman. That would be interesting to know, though, what the average is. Oh god, I'm very intrigued. What do you think the win-loss rate is between believer and non-believer predictions?
AstralSpiff. Streamer, speedrunner, and definitely not a Let's Player. He's built his own internet culture with the inside jokes and traditions that originated in his streams. I'm here to explore one of the oldest rivalries in Spiff lore. Believers versus non-believers. Which one is historically better? How can I more effectively gamble my meaningless currency so I can force Spiff to eat increasingly exotic foods? All that and more will be explained in this video. My name is Madman, and let's go on a journey through AstralSpiff's predictions. A prediction is a feature of Twitch where viewers can bet their built-up currency on whether or not the streamer will accomplish a certain task. Over time, Twitch viewers accumulate a currency called channel points that has no real monetary value, but they can cash in these points for rewards on stream, like highlighted messages, unlocked emotes, or custom incentives set by the streamer. In Spiff's case, you can spend 1 million channel points to make him eat a banana. Riveting. These channel points, known on Spiff's stream as Spiff balls, or colloquially, balls, can be recklessly gambled on predictions with the tantalizing potential of winning more. Most often, a viewer can choose to be on one of two teams. If you think Spiff will succeed at whatever he's gonna do, you're on the blue team, known as the Believers. If you think he'll fail, you're on the pink team, the non-believers. Do you think Spiff will PB this run? Do you think he will peel 50% of this egg he drew a face on? Will his cat show up on stream in the next 30 minutes? The possibilities are endless. Payouts are determined based on how many balls are in the pot on each side. For example, if 80% of the total balls in the prediction are on the believer side, the believers will win 1 divided by 80%, or 1.25 times their initial bet. Non-believers would be the heavy underdogs, so if their side wins, they get paid 5 times their initial bet. It becomes pretty tough to determine where to bet your balls. Do you try to go for the huge payout, even though it might not win? Or do you play it safe and join the rest of the believers who are way too invested in the outcome, saying things like, "My balls are in your hands, Spiff, please don't lose"? But which team has won more predictions all time? Believers or non-believers? On August 1st, 2023, I set out to find the answer. For over 2 years of my life, I combed through every past stream that was posted to Spiff's VODs channel, consequently becoming one of the most dedicated VODers in the Spiff fandom, and meticulously documenting every single prediction I could find. With the help of fellow prediction enthusiast Spiky Trees, we have them all. On a spreadsheet. A very long spreadsheet. And I'll reveal the results to you in just a second, I promise. But there's a few things I should quickly cover. I did not document predictions with 3 or more outcomes. I only focused on believers and non-believers. I didn't count any predictions that started off-stream, such as the "Will Spiff be late" predictions. If a devastating scamba occurred where the wrong team was accidentally paid out, I gave the win to the team that should have won. And finally, I didn't count refunds anywhere. Alright, moment of truth. As of October 7th, 2025, out of a total 2,615 predictions, believers have won 56% of the time. This is honestly way more than I would have guessed. I thought non-believers had the lead, and I know I wasn't alone. But either Spiff is better at video games than we think he is, or the moderators heavily favor the believer cause. Whatever the case, believers are victorious. But I decided to go deeper with my ball knowledge. I also gathered as much data as I could on what percent of balls were on each side, known as a bet split. Data for this is incomplete, because the only way to figure out the percentages on each side is through the greatest thing on Spiff's stream, the prediction widget. Before this was added to the stream, I had to watch every old VOD on 2x speed and pay close attention to the chat to figure out not only when a prediction started, but who won it. 1,000 predictions in, the widget made its debut,
What?
and suddenly I was able to blast through videos in only a fraction of the time, as well as record percentages and write down who won the most balls. The average bet split is about 60-40 in favor of believers. This does not mean that 60% of chat are believers. It means that on average, 60% of balls gambled are on the believer side. Remember, the believer win rate is 56%, so believers are actually doing something known in gambling theory as overbetting. They are overestimating their chances of winning, which means that in the long run, being a non-believer is actually more profitable. The game with the most predictions by far is Security Breach, with 303, and it has about the same exact win rate as the believers do overall, at 56%. In second place, Lethal Company clocks in at just over 200, and Poppy Playtime, all chapters, sits at 117. The top 5 best games for believers are, starting from the bottom, Help Wanted 1 with a 62% believer win rate, Buckshot with 63%. I find this one very interesting. If he ever goes back to Project Playtime, that has a 67% believer win rate. Sister Location has 67%. And finally, Repo, with nearly 69% going to believers. This might be because the predictions are per day, not per quota like Lethal Company. And on the other end, here are the 5 best games for non-believers. Starting off, we have a throwback. Egg Peeling is at 48%. Non-believers just crack a majority in the Glitched Attraction with a 51%. Choo Choo Charles has a 55%. A little outdated, but Tyke & Sons has a 57%. And Haste, with almost 64% going to non-believers and counting up. But the non-believers have an ace up their sleeve. And it's not a game. It's something so dastardly, so sinister, that it has to have its own section. The non-believer champion, with a whopping 73% win rate, is Loaf. Spiff's cat. Spacebar attacker, stream ender, and the queen of the Spiff household. A generational non-believer. The last time the believers won a Loaf prediction was nearly a year ago. Despite Loaf being an absolute death trap for believers, she is also the easiest category to predict. Pick the option where she moves the least. Now you know some of the best and worst categories for each side, so we'll round out the video with some random stats you might find interesting. The most predictions ever in a single stream is 43. It was Spiff's FNAF Marathon number 5, which is not surprising because that is also his longest VOD on record. The most balls ever won by one single chatter in a prediction is 1,217,500. I'll give you one guess on who it is. Yep, it's Chlorophyte. He's not part of the 99% who quit before they win big. Not only does Chloro have the biggest win in history, he is 10 of the 13 biggest wins in stream history. That's a lot of balls. The maximum bet you can make on a single prediction is 250,000. So in order to beat this, you would need to max bet on a 20% split and win, which is exceedingly difficult. The most believer-favored prediction was also during Spiff's 5th marathon, and it was 5 laps at Freddy's. 98-2. There are actually 2 of them. I was part of the crew that bet the maximum and won 1.02 times my balls. The most non-believer-favored prediction actually has a bit of a story. Spiff was playing Alien Isolation, and was on a particularly difficult section of the game. He had to beat the section without dying 5 times. This prediction was before the widget, so this is unofficial, but the rumor is that the split was 5-95, and believers won. A payout of 21.5 times. The single greatest win in believer history. And then immediately followed up by a streak of 8 non-believer wins in a row. Another one that happened just recently is, will Spiff find the key in Deltarune Chapter 2? This one was also 5 to 95, and the 3% chance that Spiff actually found the key in a random platter did not hit. The longest believer win streak is 12. It spanned 2 full streams. The longest non-believer streak is 14, and it was during the hell that was Stray Sprintless and Dark Deception. And I think that's it. My passion project of over 2 years is finally complete. I've managed to come up with a dataset that statisticians can only dream of. My spreadsheet compiling all the predictions is in the description of this video, available for your perusal. I plan to continue updating it for as long as I am a fan of Spiff's streams. If anything interesting or noteworthy happens, I'll let the chat know. But how can we leverage this data to win more balls? I have 2 pieces of advice. The first is to always bet 10% of what you have. This allows you to capitalize on big wins and build up your nest egg while not losing a back-breaking amount if you lose a bunch in a row. Only go above that 10% if you are certain the odds are in your favor. Not confident, certain. Like if it's near impossible for you to lose. But those opportunities are few and far between, so keep the 10% rule in mind. The second and most important is know the game and know the prediction. Each situation is different. Be knowledgeable about whatever Spiff is playing, and whatever he has to do to win. Does it require going through a hard part of the game? Has he done it before? What does the betting split look like? Remember, if non-believers are below 45%, it is technically more profitable to choose non-believer. All of these are things you should be thinking about if you want to take prediction betting seriously. And as an owner of over 1 million balls myself, I can personally say this strategy has helped me. Special thanks to Spiky Trees for being just as insane as I am and taking on this challenge with me. Thank you to the mods who tirelessly make and resolve predictions for us all. A huge thank you to Ben for doing an incredible job on the VODs channel. This would literally be impossible without his work. And finally, Spiff, if you're watching, thanks for doing what you do. I hope you all have found this video interesting and entertaining. Thank you for watching, and remember to hold on to your balls. So long.